Yes, good morning, students. Am I audible? Okay, let's wait for about 2 minutes and then we will start from the last work where we stopped yesterday. So in meantime, let your friends join this webinar. In the meantime, we will discuss what are the agenda and what are the plans for today. Today, actually, we are going to start with crystal report that was remaining yesterday. And then we will start with the discussion of question bank of unit number 2 and 3 mainly, because unit number 1 is purely theory. So I am not going to discuss what you should write as the answers when you are getting questions from unit number 1. So I will not discuss unit number 1. I will discuss rather unit number 2 and unit number 3, right? And also, I think you already written the answers of unit number 1 as a part of assignment 1 in your books or pages wherever you have written. So it's better that I will not discuss that part. I will directly discuss with unit number 2 and 3. Yeah, I'm just waiting for a minute and then we'll start with the session. Yeah, okay, so let's start our session. So continuing with the Windows Phone application as well as the crystal reports. So yesterday what we have done is we have created one Windows Form application, a blank application. Then we added one database into our application, and in that database we created one student table with some few. What are you saying, Victor? No, we haven't tried that Cisco's WebEx, but we will see. If it is better, we will use in the further sessions, maybe tomorrow or next week. Okay, so what we did is we have added one database. In that database, we created one student table, and the student table we're having these fields: name, mobile, email, department, and we put ID as auto increment value. That means it will be the values in that particular column will be added automatically, right? Based on this, we also added some dummy data to this table. Right? We already added some dummy data in the table. So now I want this table to be displayed in a crystal report. So I want to generate a report, let us say. So what I will do is I will go back to my Solution Explorer, right click on my Windows Phone application name, go to add new item, and in that pop-up box we'll select data on the left panel and then data set on the right panel or center panel. And if you want, you can rename this data set to whatever name you like. Let me say creating a stud.xsd, that is dataset file. So click on add. So we have got one layout of dataset designer. So now in this dataset, you will have to add a table, the table that you want to display in your Crystal report. So let us say I am creating one data table. The name of data table will be, let us say, student. Then I need to add the columns that I want to display in my Crystal report. So it will be, let us say, ID. Then let us say name, email or mobile rather, then email, and last is date, most probably department, sorry, not date, department. So this is what we created. We are not giving any references or primary key or foreign key references here, right? So I'll just close this data set now because my work is done. I've created one table that I want to display in Crystal report. So close this. Now again go back to Solution Explorer, right click on your application name, add new item, and then search for Crystal reports. So here it is. So you can rename it if you want. I'll rename it to student report, student.rpt file. Click on add. Yes. So you will be asked with the dialog box, you want to create a report, you want a blank report, or you want to create an existing report. We'll use the first option. Click on OK. Now here you need to add the data source. That means what database you want to show in your Crystal report. So it will be project data. In that it will be ADO.NET dataset and the dataset that you created, that is student. That will automatically be fetched here. So click on the first arrow. So this table will be directly entered here. Click on next. Now this data set contains these many columns. Now you can decide which columns you want to display in your Crystal report, either all or specifically. So right now I'll be going with all. So I'm clicking the second arrow. Next. Here if you want to group your data, you can group using these particular columns, but it's not required right now. Again, some filtration not required. And then here are the different styles that you can use to generate your report. It's a color schemes, nothing else. So I'll select standard one and click on finish. So this is what your Crystal report layout will be. It contains again 5 sections: report header, page header, details part, report footer, and page footer. Yeah, I'm getting some question. Can you please repeat about Crystal report? So yeah, Crystal reports are something that you can bind with your database directly and you can generate some reports. Let us say, for an example, that you are owning some restaurant, let us say, and at the end of month you want to see that what number of bills or what amount of bills you generated in a particular month. So directly you will generate one report, and that report can be exported to different formats as per your requirements. So reports generally display all the data as per your requirement. That's it. Yes, exactly, Hali. After adding data set, we added Crystal report from add new item in the Crystal in the project. Exactly. Is that clear, Hali? Okay, fine. So now here, what is report header? Report header will be some titles that you want to display on your top part of your page. Then page header will be the columns that you already defined in your data set. So let us say it is ID. I will just recreate or restructure the report. Then the name. So let us say I'm just restructuring it. Now this line, the section that is in page header, right? So you can rename this particular heading also if you want. Let us say if I want to say ID, what instead of ID I want to say its serial number. It is okay. Then instead of name, you want to write like the student name. Then instead of let us say instead of mobile, I want to write complete mobile number. Instead of email, I want to write email address or email ID. And here I want to write the complete full form, that is department. So now this can also be changed. You can, if you want to change the text format, you can change the text format here. You can bold it. Whatever you want to do, you can do here. Let us say anything that you want to highlight, that would be okay like this. But right now I'm not doing all these things. I'm just keeping this part. I'm keeping as it is. Then comes details. The details will be fetched directly from the database using some queries that will be done in your form part. So this section we are not going to touch anyhow. Now this contains report footer. Let us say in sometimes you are generating some bills. So the items will be in this details part, and whatever bill you are generating, the taxes, invoices, you are adding some GST, you are adding providing some discounts. So whatever part you are adding in the later part of your this report, that will be in the report footer. And the page footer will have some message regarding your this particular report. Let us say I want to display some text. What I will do is I will right click in this section and go to insert and select text object, and I will put wherever I want to display it. Now let us say I want to put this is computer generated report, it no signature required. So this message will be automatically printed in your report whenever it is generated. Fine. Again, if I want to give some heading to my report, I will just drag this report header part somewhat down, and then I will add again a text box. Let us say text object. Let me give ABC Exports Private Limited. I'll just drag it somewhat. Let me change the color and font, whatever I want to do, that is text formatting. Say regular bold color, size will be somewhat around 18. It should be in a red color, and the font should be something, whatever you want to have it. Let us say Casteller, anything. Right, so already fonts are changed. You can just drag it and arrange in your own way. Again, if I want to have some other text box, let us say a text box where I'm just printing something like list of all employees or students right now. So let me make here ABC Exports. Instead of exports, it will be ABC Schools. right? Now, other than this is the text topic that will print automatically whenever the reports are generated. Now, other than this, what you can add here? You can add many things like you can see here Field Explorer option on the left panel of my screen. So I'll just wait, let it get activated because there is some issues with the this Visual Studio, so it will activate in few seconds. I will show how to add some parameters. That means this is what we have used the head page header and detail section, that is pull method, and what I also want to use is push method. So both methods I'm going to add here, use it here. So yeah, you can see you can add different types of options. You can add formula fields, you can add parameters, some group names, but generally we use parameters. So parameter fields are something, the values that you want to add runtime to your report. The values that you want to add runtime to your report. Ellie, I'll get back to you in the for this after some time. Right. So from the Field Explorer, if I want to add something to my report runtime by a code, then you have to add some parameter fields. So to add it, what we'll do, we will right click on this, click on new, give whatever name you want to give. So let us say date, DAT, type will be date, the value will be, you don't need to change anything, just give the name and its type, click on OK. So you will be seeing that particular variable here. Now, if you want to use this variable in your report, you will just drag and drop in your report. And you can place this wherever you want in your report. Let us say on the top right side, I want to display the date on which this report is getting generated. So now I am done with the design of my report, most probably. Is it okay? It is okay. It is dynamic or static, doesn't matter because we are going to give its value by a code. So there is no issue with it. Fine. So let us say that I am ready with my design. Structure of my report has been done properly. So what I will do is now I'll go for the code part. So just a moment, student. I want to have some more precise structure. So I'm just looking for some components. So let's leave it. I don't want to go for precise for design now. So what I will do is I will directly move on to the form part, form. My Visual Studio is lagging right now. I don't know why. It's taking too much of load. Yeah, meantime I can answer the Harry's question right now. Ellie, yesterday we only discussed with ADO's question bank and we performed console-based applications on that. Nothing else. Yes, Victor, I know it is lagging. There are some issues with my laptop. I need to replace, but due to lockdown, I'm not able to replace the laptop. That is the main thing. So bear for some time, some days more. Fine, thank you. So let us say what happened to this. Yeah, so I'm back to my form. So now in this form, what I will do is, I think it is again taking some load. Right. So in this form, what I will do is I will go to toolbox. Just give me a few seconds. I will just restart my Visual Studio. I think it is taking too much load. Yes, Hers. So let me just check whether all the things are available in my project or not. Yes, XSD is there, report is there, and also form is there. So yes, everything is there. No issues with it. Fine, everything is there. So I'll just the report, close the report. Now, in this form, the first thing that you will do is you will go to reporting section in your toolbox if you have Crystal Reports installed in your Visual Studio, and then drag and drop Crystal Report Viewer in your form. You don't have to adjust anything, it will automatically set itself. Right? Now what you need to do is just double click on Crystal Report and generate a Crystal Report Viewer 1_load event. That means whenever this Crystal Report Viewer will load, what you want to do. So what I will do is I will first create or write two namespaces of database, that is using system.data.sql, using system.data.sql client, and then I will have my connection string as equals to @f4 connection string and paste it here. Now second thing what I want to do is I need to fetch the data that I want to display in my Crystal report. So I will write string fel equals to select star from student, that is my table name. Then to fetch the data, I will use SQL data adapter equals to new SQL data adapter, pass the query and connection string in the arguments, and then define one data table dt equals to new data table and da dot fill dt. Yeah, but my string doesn't contain any double quotes in between. It is a completely in red color, so no need to remove it. It's good you remember that thing. That's good. Appreciable. Right. So I have filled my data fetch by DA object into DT. Now the next step is you need to generate the object of Crystal report. So the name of my Crystal report is student SS or ST equals to new student. The next thing is I need to now provide all the data to this report now. No need to generate data grid here. Now after this object of the Crystal report has been generated, what I will have to do is I need to provide all the data fetched in this DT to this report. So the code will be st.set data source into bracket the data table. So this is what we will write. First, to create the object of the crystal report and then provide all the data to that report. Next step, what you have to do is you need to now display all these things in your crystal report viewer. So next step will be crystal report viewer 1 dot sorry report source equals to st. That means you are just giving the object of the crystal report. That's it. You can save this work and try to see whether your data or your crystal report is getting generated or not. Let us try to execute this form. I will get back to you, Heli, with your answer of your question. Just wait for a few seconds. So if you see, nothing has been displayed on your this particular crystal report. So there is some mistake in the code. So I think what mistake I have made is this code must be written in form load event rather than crystal report viewer 1 event. So I think that was the mistake made by me. Let us check once again. Yes, your report is now. See, there is one error in the report. It is saying that you have not entered any value for the parameter that you used in your report. So what I will do is I will just cancel it, and before giving everything to this report source, what I will do is now ft dot set parameter value. That means whatever parameter you used in your crystal report, that you need to give some value. So it will be object of crystal report dot set parameter value into double quotes. It will take two arguments. The first argument will be the parameter name. So what was the parameter name? It was DAT. And second will be the value. So here what I want to do is I want to show the date, that current date, let us say. So it will be double quotes. In that again two double quotes and then two plus plus, and you can write date time dot now. So this is how you declare the value for your parameter. So now let us try to execute this. Let me just remind you that stud is the data set and student was the data table created in the data set, and student is again the report name. So what we have done is we have generated the object of report, not the data set. So here is your date, ABC Schools Private Limited, list of all students, all the students listed is here, and this is a computer generated report, no signature required. So this is how reports are generated, and if you want to export this, you are having an option called export report on the top left side. You can click on it and you will see number of options in which you can export your report. PDF, CSV, Excel, Word, open source RTF file and XML. So this is what your crystal report is. So remember again, I'm just repeating the code, the steps. First create the database, then create data set, add one data table and all the columns that you want to display in crystal report. Then close it. Now add one crystal report to your application. Go through all the steps and add your data set and its columns to your report using the next button. Then in your crystal report layout, you design your report in your own way. If you want to add some parameter values, you can add it. Close the crystal report, come back to your form or add one form to your particular application Then once your form has been added, you go to toolbox. In that reporting, you will add one crystal report viewer, then generate a form event, form load event, provide a connection string, write the select query accordingly you want to have data, then execute that particular query using data adapter class, fetch it and store it in data table, then generate an object of report, not the data set. So I have created one object. Using that object, provide that object with a data table. So st.set data source equals to dt. If you have used parameters, provide all the values using this particular syntax. And at last, provide the report source to Crystal Report Viewer using this particular syntax. Now I come back to the questions that is being raised in the questions. So the first question is where we generate data grid. So data grid is something similar to your Crystal reports, but it doesn't provide any export functionalities. It is an inbuilt table like your TR-TD in HTML. It is an inbuilt table provided by Microsoft Visual Studio to you, where you can directly insert, update, or delete any row in with your database or table. Second question is, instead of student, we need to define stud, no Harsh. Actually, student is the report name, not the data table name. Yeah, because the names are same, I think there is a conflict in your mind. But remember, the data set is used only with the crystal report, and we are using the object of that crystal report. So indirectly, the data set is automatically used in your crystal report. So don't use the data set, you will use always crystal report. Next, again there was one question, sir, where is the data set used in crystal report? Okay, I'll just show you where it is used. Now, if you can remember, our student data set contains these columns, a table called student, and this particular columns, these 5 columns, ID, name, mobile, email, DPT. The same thing, if you see, I open your report now. If you can recall, in your report, if you can recall, I have renamed this values. If you can recall this, right? And these values are coming from your data set directly. The DPT, email, mobile, name, and ID. And if you can try, it won't be allowing you to edit any of the text because this text has been fetched from this particular data set. That is why. So these values are automatically fetched by your crystal report here in the details section. Right. So this is your data set that we are binding using this code, this two code that is highlighted. Yeah, again, one question was there, ADO.NET importing in Crystal report, that much is clear. Okay. Yeah, just remember one thing, Crystal reports are a bit complex whenever you are going for coding part as well as design part, because it won't allow you to do the coding or programming or designing quite easily. It will give you some types of impatience. I would say you need to be patient whenever you are dealing with custom reports. To be frank with you, it took me about 15 days for me to learn and design and code crystal reports properly. So it is not easy. Yes, we are only getting values from database into data sets which we want to display in the crystal report. Yes, exactly, Yash. Fine. So is it clear now? Krunal, where are you? Is it clear now, everyone? So now let us move on to the discussion of unit number 2 and 3 question bank quickly, right? So I'll close this. And one more thing, this type of application is already uploaded under your e-content folder in your logins, so you can refer it. I already uploaded webinars complete folder, that is Windows application, data grid, and this one, Crystal report, into your e-content under notes and symposium menu. You can just check it out. Fine. So I'll just move on now to the question bank. Sorry. So I'll start with unit number 2. I'm not going with the 1 mark MCQs or 1 mark one-liners. I will directly move on to the 4 to 4 marks questions. Oh, let us discuss this blanks first. Chalo, it's okay. We can discuss these blanks. We have time. First question is the string function that removes a specific set of characters from both sides in a string is which function we are using for this task? Anyone can give me answer? A function that removes specific set of characters from both sides in a string. It will be trim function. Remember this. Then the code that is converted from higher data type to lower data type manually is known as explicit conversion. So I'm not discussing this. I'll go to the 4 mark questions rather. It is better. Now, the first question is explain all types of data types. So what you need to write here in this question is you will define the 4 data types: integer, double, string, and float, and you will write what it is, what type of values it contains, what is its size. The 3 points for each you need to write in this. Then comes explain all relational and logical operators with example. So relational are greater, less than, greater, equal, less than equal, 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 and not equal. And logical will be logical and, or, and not. So you need to give a small example for each in this question. Which one I have not uploaded, Atul? Sorry, okay, you written, have you uploaded this one? Yes, already it is up. I am again repeating from last 3 days that everything, each and every question bank of unit wise has been uploaded under question bank option of your e-content. If you just go to your e-content under question bank menu, you will see in the .NET subject one file called complete question bank.rar file. In that you will see unit wise question bank, and that question bank contains 1 mark MCQs, 1 mark one-liners or say simple short questions, 4 mark questions, and 6 to 8 marks questions. First there will be 10 questions and then it will be followed by its answers in the later part, right? So you just go through it once more. Fine. So Cruel, you will be getting the updates on your assignments once we are getting some updates from the management, so don't be in haste. Fine. So coming back to this question, explain boxing and unboxing with example. Now you already know what is boxing and unboxing. So define it or explain it in 1 or 2 lines, then give an example. So it will be 4-mark question. Then 1D and 2D array. So explain what is 1D array. Give one example how to declare it using its syntax. And again explain what is 2D array. Give its syntax and then give one example. So only three lines for each. It is more than enough. Explain the concept of jagged array in C#. Already you need to explain what is jagged array, its syntax, and then an example of it. Then explain any 4 string handling functions. So already around 13 string handling functions have been discussed in the class. So you can write any 4 of them. You need to explain first, give it syntax, and then the example. Explain all the functions of string builder class. Yes, you need to write all the 4, that is append, then replace, then remove. So all the 4 functions or 3 functions you need to explain of string builder class. Then a C# code to print summation of first n numbers using while loop input from the user. So you need to use console.writeLine and console.readline. Then print multiplication table of a number n up to 10 using for loop. Let us say my n is 5, then it will be 5 into 1 equals to 5 till 5 into 10 equals to 50. And then write a C# code to check whether a number is odd or even. So these 3 simple examples are there in your 4 marks question. See, all the answers are given here. You just go through it. It will be easy for you. Here I directly started my program with PSVM, that is public static void main. But you need to write using system first. Remember this thing. Right. Then comes 6 to 8 marks questions. 6 marks if it is mid, 8 marks if it is final exam. So first question is explain all string handling functions. So as discussed in class, there are about 13 string handling functions. You have to write minimum 8. That's it. Minimum 8 out of 13. The same structure will be followed. Define it what it is, then syntax, and then the example. Then comes string builder class. Here it is a question of 8 marks. So what you will do is you need to write what is string builder, why it is required. That means I have already explained this, also made you write. So explain that part and then go with the functions of it. Again, the function name, its explanation, its syntax, and then the example. Or full functions you need to write. Now, for TC1 and TC3 students, I would like to suggest here something for you. I think Nirali madam has not made you write anything from this. So what I suggest you is, I have made unit number 2 and unit number 3 to be written by CB4 batch of TC2 class and G1 and G2 batch of TD1 class. They all have written everything as a part of theory in their some rough book or some book. So what you can do is you can ask the photos of it for your reference. That means you can know what type of answers you should write whenever such questions arise in your exam. So it will be beneficial for you. So ask either CB4 batch of TC2 or G1 and G2 batch of TD1. Right, so it will be better for you that you will get all the answers because I have made them everything right in their book. So they will be having all these contents somewhere in their books. And also I know that I remember that some of the students of G2 batch of TD1 class have created one PDF file of the snaps. So you can ask for it from TD1 class also. It contains everything, all the theory of unit number 2 as well as unit number 3. And even if you want, I have my own book with me in the college. So once lockdown is over and if you're visiting the college, you can come to my cabin and take a snap from my books. I won't mind. Right, so moving back to this 6 to 8 marks question now. I've discussed these two questions. Then all the things are your programs. So these programs you need to remember. You already done all the programs in your lab work. Which case, calculator, Fibonacci series, palindrome, a pattern, and 3 cross 3 matrix. Then again explain while, do while, and for loop. So you just need to explain this with an example. Again, reverse a number, find the total of even and odd numbers between 151 and 450. So these are simple questions and all the questions are answers are written here. You can go through it. Wherever it starts with PSVM, it will be a new answer. Remember this thing. So unit number 2 is quite easy and the questions that I have defined is also easy. So won't be any issues. So I'll move on to unit number 3 now. So moving back directly to the 4 marks question. Again, it will be theory. Right. Explain all access modifiers. So you need to explain what is static, what is internal, what is private, public, and protected. Already I have made this right to TD1 and CB4 batch. So you can get these answers from them. Then you need to write a C# code that demonstrates the uses of class and object. So simply you need to create one class, create one method in it. Then in public static void main, you just create the object of the class and call that method. That's it. So you need to just demonstrate it, nothing else. Explain method overloading. So explain what is method overloading and write one example. Then what is explain method overriding. Again explain what it is and write an example. Explain overloaded constructors with example. So what is overloaded constructors? Anyone can answer? Can anyone answer what is overloaded constructors? Yeah, 4 constructors. Exactly. What you need to do is you need to write same constructor with different types. So you define one static, you define one, I would say, parameterized, one parameterless. So likewise, you can just write down the example directly. You just write what is the overloaded constructor. You can say overloaded constructors are different types of constructors used in one single program. And then you write down a complete example showing overloaded constructors. That's it. Then comes explain CLD class. Okay. Explain abstract class. You just explain it and write the example. Now, whenever you are asked with this type of question, explain something with example, what you will do is you will just write down using system and start your program directly with PSVM, that is public static void main. Don't write anything else. Or even if you don't write using system, it's okay for me. No issues. Then explain abstract class, explain property, that means you need to explain get and set first, and then the example of this property. Then again explain indexer. So what is indexer? You will write array of your class and you are making actually the object of class being used as a array. Then you explain what is this keyword in this, and then again get and set methods. Then explain interface. Already you know what is interface, so you will just explain it within example. So everything has been written here. Fine, if you written last 8 questions, that is okay, no issues, Harsh. So what I have said is you can refer to the notes if you want, if you don't have such questions. Otherwise, you can go with your own. I don't mind. If you know, if you have the material for it, you can refer it. This is just a backup for you, nothing else. Right. Now moving on to 6 to 8 marks questions. Again, there will be some repetitions. So what is exception handling? First, you need to explain this. Try, catch, and throw or finally block. And then you will write a code that demonstrates divide by zero exception. So this question was a part of your mid one, if you can remember. Right. So next, explain inheritance. So we'll define inheritance first, and then define all its types within example. Simple inheritance, multiple, and multi-level. That's it. Only 3 types of inheritance you need to write. Then explain indexer and property together. The same question has been combined from this 4 marks question. Same way you will answer. Then comes explain constructors and its types. So define constructor and then its types, that is private, copy, simple, parameterized, static, likewise, and then you will give example wherever it is required. You will give at least 3 examples for static, for parameterized, and for default. 3 examples are required at least. Then explain sealed class and abstract class together. Then apply method overloading to find multiplication of, sorry, I think, yeah, fine. So there is one question, apply method overloading to find multiplication of varied variables, implement at least 3 methods to display proper output. So what you need to do is, you will create one method called multiplication or multi. Then in that, first you will pass only one variable and provide its multiplication as an output. Then another method with the same name, provide 2 variables and multiply these 2 variables. And again the third method with the same name, provide 3 variables and then have the multiplication. That is what this question is expecting from you. I will show you in the answer. Let us say this is the class public void null integer ABC, then public void null double A integer B and double A, and I've called these methods using the main function. This is what you have to write for 8 marks or 6 marks. Then comes again apply method overloading to find the area of circle, rectangle and square. Now you know the formulas of circle, rectangle and square, how to find these areas. So you will just implement this Kelsey underscore area method in 3 different ways to find the area of circle, rectangle and square. That's it. Again, this was a part of your, not the midsem, but I have discussed in my 2 classes, TC2 and TD1. You create one apartment class, define or implement 3 classes, 1 BHK, 2 BHK and 3 BHK using inheritance, and you need to use sealed class in 3 BHK whenever you are defining this 3 BHK. So answer is written in the later part. You can see this, the highlighted one. You go through this. So all these are the programs. Then again, consider a class information that has data members as name, surname and contact number. Employee and student be more other classes that inherits information class. You need to add one more member, semester, to student class and salary to employee class. You need to implement method overriding. This was the part of your midsem, so you know very well the answer. And the last question is create 2 interfaces, iCredit and iDebit, with methods deposit and withdraw. Again, this was the part of your midsem, so you know the answer of this. And again, the answer of this has been mentioned here, so you can refer it. So this is all about your unit number 3, right? So Let us say we have already revised unit number 2 and 3, or discussed rather the question bank of unit number 2 and 3 here. Now in the upcoming sessions, whenever we have, right, if you have any queries, we will have only doubt solving sessions of unit number 1 to unit number 8, right? So if you have a time, then you just go through all the units or the question bank rather, and you can raise your queries in that particular session, right? So right now I will stop my particular session and I will hand over this session to Happy Ma'am. So Happy Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am here, but just transfer your lecture to Krishna ma'am.
Okay, I'll go
Sure, you
make
can
Krishna
take the
Ma'am
next.
as a presenter. Okay, Krishna Ma'am, are you
Yes.
there?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Krishna Ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the students, the next session of CD will be conducted by Krishna Ma'am. So again, I am signing off right now. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe. Krishna Ma'am, you can start your session by making yourself as a presenter.
Okay, sir.
Right click on your name, you will get, yeah, okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you are visible and
No,
audible.
ma'am,
You can
you
carry
are
on.
audible.
My screen is visible to you?
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Happy
Okay,
Ma'am,
okay.
just one thing. After session is over, you just end the webinar.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sure.
Okay, okay, good day.
Yes.
Hello, students. Good afternoon to one and all. Hope you are doing well. So in last lecture, we discussed that we will do our revision of each and every chapter or on the topic which you have doubt. In last lecture, we also saw that compiler phases. We discussed the compiler phases and regular expression. So now let's see what is scanner. Scanner means lexical phase, right? Lexical analysis. So our first topic would be regular expression to NFA. Here in exam, you can also get the question that how would you change regular expression into NFA, or one regular expression would be given and you will be asked that show NFA of this particular regular expression or show DFA of this expression. So we'll see how we will construct that. Okay. So here we are having four basic sub-constructions. First one is sub-expression of regular expression. First one is A, second one is A or B, third one is AB, and fourth one is A star. Here, just a second. Okay, so these four are basic sub-expression. By joining this sub-expression, you can get different regular expression which you can solve. So first one here is A. So from A, first we will keep in mind that whenever we are going to start our NFA, first we will show this arrow, which will show that this is our starting phase. And at last we will double circle the final state, or you can say this final node. Okay, so that will represent that this is our final node. Okay. Okay, so first one is A. In A, you don't have to add any epsilon construction. No epsilon construction will be there in A. Then when we will go from A or B, at that time, either we are getting at a time A or we are getting at a time B. Here as shown in example, we are doing S or T. So we will be having two different paths for S and T. If I want S from that particular expression, then what I will do? I will go from here. First my epsilon construction is there. Then S, as you can see here. Then there is epsilon construction again, and I am reaching to my final node, right? Okay. Now if second time when I'm running this expression, if I want T, so I'm having second path for T. So what I will do here? First I will get epsilon construction, which will bring my starting node to second node. Then second to third node I would be having T. Then third to fourth node I would be having again epsilon construction and I will reach at my final destination. Okay. After that, we are having ST, S into T, you can say. So in ST, first, here we are not getting any epsilon node because it is not needed. So first here we are getting S, then we are getting T, and we are reaching to our final state. Okay, these are basic expressions which you need to remember. Last one is S star, or you can say A star, B star. What does this star represent? It represents that either my S will run for 0 time, means no nullable, you can say nullable, right? Or it can run 1 time, or it can run 2 time, means multiple occurrence, either no occurrence, either 1, 2, or multiple occurrence. Okay, so here let us see what logic here it is applied. First, from starting state, we are going to second node with epsilon construction. Then second to third node, we are writing S. So if I want S for 0 time, means if I don't want any occurrence of S, so simple what I will do, from starting state, I will consider this epsilon construction and I will reach to my final destination. If I want S to occur 1 time, then what I will do, first I will go from here to here with epsilon construction, then I will move this S construction, which we can say transition. Then again I will go from third node to fourth node, which is my destination node. For example, let us assume that S would be occurred more than once. So what we will do here, at that time, here first my S is occurred 1 time, right, up to this node. Then I will again move to my previous node, considering this expression by this epsilon. Then again I will go here, so I will get 2s. If I want 3s, then again I will repeat this loop. Okay, so here it is shown that S star would be having 0 occurrence, 1 occurrence, more than 1 occurrence. Okay, so here any doubt, you can post any question if you want. Are we going to do revision whole session? Vaishwari is asking about revision. Yes, Vaishwari. Any question clear up to here? Okay, fine. So moving forward. Okay. So let us see one example. In example, it is shown that A or B star A. So in A or B star A, how we are going to construct NFA? First, you have to see that whether star is shown or not. If yes, then what was the logic for star in our previous slide? Before starting and before ending that particular expression, we have to put this epsilon, right? Before starting and before ending. So here same will be applied. First, we are putting this epsilon before starting our expression and after ending our expression. Okay, so what is our main expression for star? That is A or B. So now we have to see that what is the logic of A or B. A or B logic here says that you are creating 2 different paths for A and B. Okay, so here we are doing same. We are creating 2 different paths. One is for A and other one is for B. Okay, after completing that, we are getting here A. So our last symbol should be A. So simple A, what is the logic of simple A expression? So this is the logic, right? You don't need to put any epsilon. You are just simply putting your main transition, that is A. So here we are doing same. Here we are directly putting our main transition, and finally we are reaching on our final node. This is our final destination, right? You got it? Any doubt till here in this example? Anyone? Any doubt till now? Okay, no doubt. Okay. So let us move forward. I want you to construct this one. I want you people to construct this one. Please take your note and try it out. Okay, let us see. Here what we are doing. First, what we have to see whether star is given or not. Yes, star is given. So first our logic should be before starting expression and after ending expression. What we have to keep? We have to keep this epsilon, right? This is the basic rule. Now, inside what is given, or is given A into B or C. So whenever we are getting A into B or C, at that time we are creating two different paths. One path is for A and A into B, and second path would be for C. Now one path is of A into B. So A into B, we don't have any epsilon between A and B. So we are continuing that, right? You can see that here, right? So now what we are doing, we are constructing NFA by epsilon construction method, or you can say Thompson's construction rule. So here first we have solved our nullable node. Nullable means this star. Then we are solving this OR. After that we are solving this particular thing. Okay, so this is our final node and this is our starting node. Okay, so now let us move forward and let us see what is DFA. DFA is nothing but finite automata, which only one possible set of states that can be reached from given state on an input symbol. So what does DFA say? DFA says to go from source node to destination node, you are having only one path, one particular path. That is your DFA, that is deterministic finite automata. Properties of deterministic finite automata is it can never have epsilon transition, because epsilon transition is only in NFA, non-deterministic finite automata. From a state S on a symbol A, we have only one transition. If you want to go from state S to any symbol A, if you want to do any transition of A, then you are having only one single transition. Okay, let us see how. Now see, for constructing DFA, you are using two methods. First one is syntax tree method and second one is subset construction. First, let us see what is syntax tree method. There are 5 steps to convert RA to DFA. First one is construction of syntax tree. First you will have to construct syntax tree. Then you have to find nullable node. Then after finding the nullable node, you have to find first and last position. Then you will find follow position of each and every node. And after that, you have to construct the table. The table you can also say transition table, right? And then you are going for DFA. So okay, let us see. Always keep, this is your first point. If you are writing in your note, then please write it down that your first step is, first you will place hash after your regular expression. Okay, always keep hash at the end of regular expression before constructing syntax tree. Given expression and after adding hash. Here you can see, if your regular expression is A star, then your after adding hash, what is your expression? A star hash. If it is A or B star, then A or B star hash. Okay, so likewise we will go forward. Now next one is start construction from right to left. Now what you have to do, your second step is you have to construct syntax tree from right to left, not from left to right. Keep that in mind. Okay, so third point is identify nodes in regular expression. Always consider A star, A or B star as a single node. Means this star doesn't have any self occurrence. Why? This star is always representing this node, right? So you won't keep any concatenate between star and A or B. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to keep one cat node with, that is this one dot concate node. Okay, so for example, consider this one. I am having one expression A or B star ABB. So what I am doing, I am putting one dot between each and every node, right? First I am putting here A or B star A, then A dot B, B dot B, B dot hash. Okay, this is second example. This is third one, just to make you clear. Any doubt till now? Any doubt? Okay. So now what we will do, we will construct syntax tree. While constructing this syntax tree, what you have to keep in mind that you will go from right to left. Okay. So first you will consider these two things, hash and dot. So what you are doing, first you are placing dot here. You are keeping this dot in root node, that is your root node. Okay. And you are placing this hash on right side. After that, you will be moving forward with this do node. Okay. First you will keep this dot, and on the right side you will keep b. This is the way have you have you draw syntax tree, right? Have you construct syntax tree. So there are few more examples you can see here. Considering last two nodes from right side, you are going to construct syntax tree. First I will construct this one by putting dot hash, then I will construct this one by putting dot a, then star. Okay. Okay, so here I have constructed syntax tree. Now what is my main aim? I will give numbers to each and every node, each and every main node. I will not consider this dot, this concat, I will not consider this one. Okay, so A would be 1, B would be 2, A would be 3, B would be 4, B would be 5, and hash would be 6. I will provide number. Okay, so now first I have to find first positions. What is first position? The nodes which we have already numbered, we will keep same thing here. We will put it here, okay, in syntax tree. So that would be 1, 2 to this A, B. Okay, so that would be 1, 2 for A, B, then this 3 for this A, then B, then 5, then 6. First we'll keep as it is. Okay. Okay, after that we will find last position. Last position also we will keep same. Now let us see how we got first and last position for this all node. Okay, for nullable node, for or node, for concatenation. Okay, so see, whenever you are having or node in between, this is or node, right? This is or node. So whenever you are having or node in between and you want to find first position of that or, what would be the first position? See, or this or node is having two children, right? A and B, and their first position is 1 and 2, right? So this or node's first position would be 1, 2, considering their children's position. Okay. Same for last position. Same we will consider for last position. Their children's last position is 1, 2, as you can see here. So what we are doing, we are writing last position of this or node 1, 2. Okay. Now we will go for, we are giving to this child. Automatically it will take from its child. So here or node is taking 1, 2 from its child, right? Now we will go for concatenation. Concatenation rule are different, a little difference between the rule of concatenation, nullable, and or node. So what is the difference here? Let us see. Whenever you are going to find first position, which we have placed here on left side of concatenation node, at that time you have to check whether its left child, this left child, is nullable node or not. So here you can see that left child of concatenation node is nullable node, right? Star is nullable node. So at that time what you will do, you will keep first position of this node by combining this and this, both, by combining both its child node. Okay, so what would be the first position of concatenation node? 1, 2 from here and 3 from here. Okay, now whenever I want to find last position, means this right side of concat node, at that time also I will see whether the right side of this concat node is nullable or not. Here as you can see, this is not nullable, this is A. which is not nullable, right? So simply what would be the last position of this one? Same as it is of its child. Here the last position is 3, so it will take 3 here as it is. Okay, if this would be also be nullable, then you can consider both last position, that is 1 2 and 3, 1 2 3. But here this is not nullable, this is A. Okay, so same here, concatenation you have to check whether first position, to find this first position you have to check that left node is having nullable node or not. But here we cannot see nullable node, can we? No. So what would be the answer? This is 1 2 3, same it is, right? And here also we have to check whether nullable. No, it is not nullable. So what we will do, we'll keep same answer, so it will go on. Okay, so here we got first and last position of each and every node. Okay, so now let us find follow position. To find follow position, you are having this method. This is very easy method, you can just check. Okay, first I want to find 1 2 3 4 5 6. These are the position of our main node. You can ignore 6 because 6 is the additional node, we have added this 6. Okay, so you can ignore that. So the position of this first node, that is our A node, right? What would be follow of A? Now consider, it is given A or B star. What does A or B star? What does it mean? That means either after completing this, you can repeat A, you can repeat B, or if you don't want to repeat anything, you can simply move forward. Okay, so what are the chances that after A, which other node can follow it? After repeating this A, if I will consider again A from this star, then A one should be the follow, right? A means we will count 1 to A, B to 2, and other A to 3. Okay, so if I will take once A from this, then second time I can take B, that is 2. Or if I don't want to take A or B, then I have to take this A, means 3, because it does not have any star here. Now consider if this A also would be having any star here, A or B star, A star, B, B. Then what you will do? You will also consider 4. Why? Because if this would be given here, then you can ignore this one and you can move to forward. You can move forward, right? So the follow position of first node is 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now follow position of 2 would be same, right? 1 2 3, because after writing B, you can write A again if there is multiple occurrence, you can write B if there is multiple occurrence, and if you want to ignore that, if you want to take null from it, then what you have to write? You have to write this 3, because this doesn't have any nullable node. This is not nullable node. Okay, so what you will be doing? Follow of 1 is 1 2 3, follow of 2 is again 1 2 3, follow of 3 is 4, follow of 4 is 5, and follow of 5 is 6. Now for example, if I'm saying that here there is star A or B star, A B B star, so can you answer me what would be the follow position of 4? If I am writing star here, then what would be the follow position of 4? Haley is asking, please repeat steps for this tree once. Haley, of syntax tree? Yes, ma'am. Okay, okay. Haley means you want to know the first and follow position? You want to know first and follow position, or you want to just know how syntax tree is being constructed? Okay, first and follow. Okay, okay. See, for this first and follow, you are having some certain rules. Okay. So first, what we are doing, we are numbering these all things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So now consider. Here I will keep 1 2 3 4 5 6 as it is. Okay, just a second. Okay. So now consider 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as it is. We are keeping here. Okay. Of A, B, a hash. Okay. Now just consider that this OR. If you want to find first position of this OR, how you will check the first position? You have to check the position of its child node, right? What is the child node? 1 and 2. They are child of this OR node. So now considering that rule, what you will say, that whatever property their child can have or whatever property their child consider, at that time parent will get the same thing, right? आपका जो है वही आपके मम्मा पापा का है. Okay, so what we will see here, that the first position of this OR node is 1, 2, right? Considering its child node. Same for last position. Okay. Next, null node. So null is having only one child. Null will always have one child, only one child. Okay. So now let me say, if I am writing that this division is having first and last position as 1 or 2 and 1, 2, then what would be the position, first and last position of null? Whatever its child is consuming, right? So its child is having 1, 2. So division, so nullable node also would be having 1, 2 and 1, 2 as first position and as last position. Okay. Now there is a little difference in rule for concatenation. What concatenation says, if concatenation wants to consider first position, how it will check? For first position you are looking at left side, for last position you are looking at right side. Okay, so let us see left child of concate node. Is it nullable node? Yes, it is. Nullable node means star node, okay, which can go empty. So if it is having nullable node, then first position of concatenation would be by combining this and this both child. Okay, so first position would be 1, 2 and 3. So here we are writing 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let us check the last position of concate node. Again you have to check. For last position we are checking right side. Okay, so again you have to check the right child of concate node is nullable node or not. No, it is not nullable, it is A. If star would be given, then you can say it is nullable. Okay, so if it is A, then you have to simply write the last of A. So A's last is 3, last position. So this concate will be having last position as 3. Okay, again let us check this concatenation. Now for first position, if I want to consider first position, then what I will see, whether the right child of this concatenation node is nullable or not. No, it is not nullable, it is concate node. Okay, so the first position of this one would be 1, 2, 3, whatever was its position, right? 1, 2, 3. And now again I want to check left position, then what I will see, that right child is 4, so it will get 4. Now is it clear, Helly? Done, ma'am. Okay, any doubt? Okay. Helly, I will give an example. You can try it at your home and then you can send me pics. Okay. Okay. So here we got follow position. Now let us see how we will construct DFA. So for follow position, you have to consider this transition table. This table you have to consider. Okay. Your starting node, or you can say your root node, would be 1, 2, 3. This is your root node. Okay. Now that would be your first step. Your second step is you have to check in 1, 2, 3. Consider this one, this equation, this regular expression, sorry. You have to check from this 1, 2 and 3. You are going to find a transition, right? So you have to check that from 1, 2, 3, which node is containing A. So you can say node number 1 and node number 3, right? So you have to check the follow position of 1 and follow position of 3. That is, follow position of 1 is 1, 2, 3 and follow position of 3 is 4. So combining that you will get answer 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is formula, follow 1 union follow 3. So that would be your answer. So this is your answer, right? Okay, now we'll check B transition of 1, 2, 3. Now B transition of 1, 2, 3 is only this one, only 2, because from 1, 2, 3, 1 and 3 is having A and only 2 is having B. So follow of 2, that would be 1, 2, 3, same as it is. Okay, so here you get the new state 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now you will do transition of new state, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 A. Okay, so here you have to check from 1, 2, 3, 4, from this 4 node, which number consider A. So their answer is 1 and 3, right? So you can write here follow of 1 union follow of 3. So your answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, same as it is. Okay, so this is not your new state. Now consider B. From this given equation, you have to consider whether 1, 2, 3, 4, which node is containing B. So here you will get the answer, that node number 2 and node number 4. These both are containing B, right? So that is 1, 2, 3 and 5. Okay, you have to check position, follow position. So follow position of 2 is 1, 2, 3 and follow position of 4 is 5. So this is your new state. Okay, now again you have to consider A from 1, 2, 3, 5. So from 1, 2, 3, 5 you are getting A in 1 and 3, right? So this is repeated state again, and this is new state 1, 2, 3, 5. You have to find which is having B. So B is in 2 and in 5. So you have to consider follow position of 2 and follow position of 5. So you will get new state, that is 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 6, you have to again check that in 1, 2, 3, 6 which node is containing A. Then it would be 1 and 3 again. So this is your repeated state. And then you have to check for B. For B it is 2 and 6 does not contain A or B, nothing. Okay, so answer of this would be 1, 2, 3. Again it is repeated. Now you have performed each and every transition for new state, and now steps are repeating. Okay, so this both state are repetitive. So what you will do, you will form one table. You will write that what you got from A, what you got from B, and then you are going to draw DFA. So this is your answer. Okay, now see, if you write 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be okay. But if you write capital A, capital B, whatever answer you have given to it, then that would also be okay. Just do one thing, right here, this will give A state, this will give B state, then you can simply place here A, B, C, D. Okay, this is your DFA. Any doubt in syntax tree DFA till now? Any doubt? Anyone? Okay, just a second. Okay, so we should move forward. Okay. Now we will see the second method, which is subset construction method. In subset construction method, one example is given here, A or B star ABB. We will see how NFA to DFA is constructed here. Okay, this we know, right? How we have constructed NFA, that we know. Just now before a few minutes we saw that. Okay, so by considering this NFA, we are going to create DFA for this expression. Okay, so first we have to find starting state of DFA. How we will find starting state of DFA? That is epsilon closure from starting state. So here, can I say epsilon closure that should be continuous from starting state? So can I say 0, then 1, here it is 1, 0, 1, then 2, then 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3, then again 0 is going to 7, right? So can I say this is starting state of DFA, right? So I will give this state one name, and my name is capital A. Okay. Now let us see. I want to find transition 1, that is I want to find small a moves from capital A, which is my 0, 1, 2, 3, 7 state. Okay. So how I will find it? Now I want to find that whether that nodes give me a transition or not. So now I will check. 0 gives me a transition, no, it is epsilon. Okay. Now 1, does 1 give me a transition? No, again it is epsilon. Now 2, does 2 give me a transition? Yes, 2 gives me a transition, but to which node? To node number 4. So what I will do, I will write here 4. Okay, again I will check. Does 3 give me a transition? No, it gives you B transition. Then again I will check from here to here. Okay, now does 7 give me a transition? Yes, 7 gives you a transition. To which state or to which node? That is node number 8. Okay, so now to find second state, other state, what you have to do, including 4 and 8, you have to consider that where you get epsilon closure, okay, including 4 and 8. So I'm saying including. So what I will do, first I will write this 4. Now I will check from 4 which are the state that gives me epsilon transition. So 4 to 6, 6 to 7, again 6 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Okay, then now consider this 8. So again I will write 8, then again I will check from 8, it doesn't give anything. So my new state is 4, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 8. Okay, here it is B. Fine, this is my new state. Now I have just found out A transition. Now I also have to find B transition for previous state. Okay, so B transition for my previous state, that is what was my previous state? A, that was 0, 1, 2, 3, 7. So I have to find what is B transition. So here I will go and check. 0 will give me B transition, no. 1 will give me B transition, no. 2 will give me B transition, no. 3 will give me B transition, yes. But to which state? To state number 5, right? So here I am writing 5. Okay, now again what I have to do, including this 5, I have to find out which are the epsilon closure state. So including 5, can I say 5, 6, 7, then again 6 is going back. So 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. So this is my new state. I am naming this state as C state. Okay. Okay, again I have completed this step for state A. which was my first state, or you can say root state, right? Now I will complete same procedure for state B. For state B, what I'm doing, what is my state B? 4 6 7 1 2 3 8. So this is 4 6 7 1 2 3 8. So here I am finding out which gives me a transition. Okay, so okay, 4 gives me a transition, no. 6 gives me a transition, no. 7 gives me a transition, yes. But to which state? To state number 8. So here I am writing again 8. Okay, 1 will give me a transition, no. 2 will give me a transition, yes. To which state? State number 4. So here again I am writing 4. Okay, so now including this 4 and 8, again consider epsilon transition. Okay, including this. So what will be your answer? 4 6 1 2 3. Okay, same. So here you are naming this. Already we have completed this state, so you are naming this same B. Okay, then again you are doing small b transition of this B state. Okay, any doubt in this? You have to repeat the state. Any doubt here till now? Please repeat steps 4 3. Okay, that was really. Any doubt? Anyone? Rutvik is saying no. Okay, okay. Okay, so repeating this all state. Repeating same state. I am getting new state, and then I will check up to where I will do this transition, up to where I will repeat this step until I get repetitive steps. Okay. Okay. So this is my answer. I got this state transition table. Now I will make DFA from this table. Okay, this is my DFA. Okay. The question here is, my question is, how would you get to know that E is your final state? How will you consider E as your final state? Anyone? Students who are attending this, I want you to answer. Akshay, Fenil, Harsh, Heli, Hetvi, Kishan, Krishnaraj, Rutvik. I want you people to answer. How will I know that E is final state? Yes, Heli, E is final state, but how? If one of final state is in E, yes, you are going good. Only Heli is listening to me. No other students are listening. Okay, just say me that you are clear with this step, yes or no. You have to just type yes or no. Hetvi, Kishan, Krishnaraj, Rutvik, Fenil. Okay, Fenil is clear with this one. Krishnaraj is saying clear. Okay. Other? Rutvik clear. Okay. Hetvi? Harsh Marthak, Akshay Jala. Okay, so should I move forward? Okay, so my next topic is DFA to optimize DFA. What is optimization? That reusable state you have to reuse, or the states which are not used that you can reduce. Okay, so that is optimization. So let us see how optimization is done. There are two methods for optimization, but here we are mainly considering this partition method. Okay, what does partition method say? It says that to optimize your DFA, you have to first divide your states into two parts, whether it is final state or not, or whether it is non-final state. Okay, so here group of non-accepting state is ABCD and group of accepting state is E. Okay, so we have ABCD in one part, and in second part it is E. Now I have to consider, I have to split that. Okay, so first what I will say, that A, B, C, D, A transition, small a transition are going in which state? So here A transition of A, B, C, D is going to B. Okay. Now we have to, so here no splitting is possible. Now we have to consider B, small b transition. So in small b transition, you can see here that A, B, C, D gives you C, D, C, E. So here you have to check C, D, C, that are C and D are in same partition, but E is not in same partition. E is not in same partition. So here again you have to you have to divide A, B, C, D. Which node you will remove from A, B, C, D? D node, right? Because what D is doing, D is not uniting with A, B, C. Okay, so here my other part would be A, B, C, D and E. Okay, now again let me check again. A, B, C is giving same answer for A? Yes. Is it giving same for B? No. C is in this part, that is okay. So A and C are giving answer as C, but B is giving answer D, which is on other node, other part. Okay, so they will eliminate B. So now the next steps would be A, C, B, D and E. Okay, so now no splitting is possible because A and C are giving small transition to capital B and small b transition to capital C. So both are same. So now what you can do? You can conclude that A and C are one step, same state. Okay. Okay. So now what I can do, I will eliminate C. You can either eliminate A or you can either eliminate C. Choice is yours. Okay. But here what I'm doing, if I'm eliminating C, then what I'm doing here, I will write A in each and every state where I have previously written C. You can see here that. Okay. Then I will again draw DFA. So this is my new optimized DFA. I can say previous DFA there were 5 steps. Here there are 4 steps. Means here it is 5 state and here it is 4 state. You can see that. Okay. And here in this A state also C is combined. You can write this way also AC. Am I clear, everyone? Am I clear? Okay, table driven method of DFA minimization is not coming in exam. Crystal clear. Okay, Haley, good. Haley is interactive. Interaction marks should be gone to Haley. Rutvik is also answering yes. Okay. What other students are doing? Akshay, Fenil, Harsh. You people are enjoying, right? Okay, fine. Chalo, any doubt till here? No doubt? Sure? Okay. So do one thing. This is your practice question. I want you to construct NFA to DFA for epsilon closure method of this given question. Please, whoever is online, take one screenshot and post it in your group, in your class group, and ask them that ma'am have given this question and she wants to know the answer. So what you can do, you can write your answer in notebook or in a page or anything, and you can just click photo and you can send it to me or to Happy ma'am. Okay. Any doubt till here? Akshay Jala, no ma'am, sir taught us in different way and I am comfortable with that. Akshay, which method you are trying to say? Akshay, which method you are talking about? Coloring one? Hello? Rutvik is saying no. Akshay, just a second. I am unmuting you. Just a second. Yes, Akshay, now you can speak.
અરે મેમ એમાં ડબલ ગિવન અપ્રોચ જ છે પણ અલગ રીતે કરાયું હતું એક
Table
સ્ટેપ આખું
driven
પેલા
method
કરી
ને color
નાખવાનું
કરવાનું ને.
હા ના કલર ને અમને ટેબલ ડ્રો કરીને ડિફરન્ટ સિમ્બોલ્સ યુઝ કરવાનું એ રીતે હતું
That is same method. Okay. You can do that, but I think this is more easy. But if you are comfortable with that method, then that is fine for me.
ઓકે
Okay. Haley is saying, sir taught us table driven. Yeah, Haley, that is fine. If you are going to use table driven method for exam, both method are cool for us. We don't have an issue, but answer should be same. Okay, answer should not differ. Okay, so now you people do one thing, click screenshot of this question and post that in your group that you have to you got this practice question and you have to send pics to ma'am by tonight. Okay, so we should end our session now, or should I summarize it? Hope I will get answer. I or Happy ma'am will get answer of this question from you people. Okay, use your time, stay safe, stay at your home and do some productive work. Okay, use your time in best way possible. Okay, thank you students.